Okay.
Recording. Dave and Katie Show, episode 8, starring Dave Shell,
The
featuring Katie Walker.
guest speaker.
Guest speaker, Katie Walker.
I'm going big now. I'm solo. I just can't set any of
Break
this
it up
up.
with the band.
You're like my production assistant now because I don't know how to even start a thing. So you're working on moving up to a co-host.
Thank you. So today we're going to talk about when life throws a rock at you. Talk about having a safe place that you can talk to, or a safe person you can talk to. And then third, the lab, which is super exciting as we disrupt the world towards a better path. But so say on Monday, Dave, you're having a great week on Monday. You just felt like $1,000,000.
Monday's never a great week for
Like you
anybody.
just won money on that slot machine in Las
Oh,
Vegas.
I know I didn't do that. That's like but yeah, I actually started out the week great. I was getting to with my job. I was going to be traveling oh to Virginia Beach, and I will say this: I actually drove to the beach while I was there.
Wow. We've talked
Yeah,
about that before.
yeah. I was a bit. I mean, it doesn't sound like a big step, but it was a huge step for
How
me.
is your anxiety out around that?
Well, I didn't hang out there,
You
but
saw it, smelled it, and went back into your
I didn't
hole.
even know. I didn't even slow down, but it was still a big step. It was a big accomplishment.
How far away was it from your hotel?
10 miles.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. That's what
huge.
I'm saying. Like it doesn't seem like anything, but it. I've learned finally after 6 years or 7 years, whatever, to cherish the small steps.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Only time you look back is to see how far you've come.
I can't do that because you lie to yourself too much. When you're in a bad place, you lie to yourself.
What do you mean? You can't look back to see like if you've accomplished anything?
No, because I still see. I I don't know how I will ever not look at what happened to me as a failure of me.
Okay.
Like I feel like I should I, I should have been strong enough not to let that happen.
You know what? I think everybody's like that. And actually, that's why the lab, we can talk about it first before we talk about anything else if you want to. But that's the whole reason why the lab was created is so we can figure out what else is going on so we don't feel bad about ourselves.
I'm like beyond excited about the lab because I was fortunate enough to um, well, I don't know if you call it fortunate because I was a little bit of a guinea pig, and part of being a guinea pig is I had to gain weight like a pig, and now I'm fat, and I mean that's just not fair, really. Like I get the whole word being a guinea pig, getting stuck with needles or um, getting
Well, you were a police officer too.
yeah, but I'm fat. But no, I'm very excited about that because I believe it or not, I do listen to you. Like I truly listen. So when you're talking about like John Hopkins studies and all this, like I know there's a lot of factual research behind what you're doing. So I for some reason in my mind, I think you're going to crack something out of this lab.
I do too. I do.
Yeah, and and
Because
and
here's the thing.
so
So think about this, Dave. Go to your, don't go there, but think about it. Think about at your deepest, darkest times, right?
yeah, that's
What?
terrible.
Well, right. So what do we do in the mental health world? What do we do? Dave, tell me how
You
you
give you
feel.
Prozac.
Dave, what's going on? Tell me how you feel. You're in such a dark place. you can't always describe how you feel because everything just feels pressure and heavy and racing, and it's like
I
somebody just
always,
pulled you out of a car going 90 miles an hour and put you on the sidewalk and was like, hey, tell me how you feel right now. Like, it's really, really, really hard to describe.
it is, and here's the thing about it: unless you've built up a relationship with someone,
Which takes time. Yep.
yeah, like when you and I talk, and you're like, when you can tell something's off, and you go, well, what's going on? And I always say, my brain won't slow down. It's full. It's I and we have developed that trust and history of you learning me to where you slowly dissect my brain being full and running wide open, but you don't flood it to where I can't even understand what you're saying. You don't, you know, like, I mean, honestly, my first experiences, like we've talked about, if you're going to just say, well, we're going to switch you to Prozac, or we're going to switch you to Trintellix, or we're going to switch you to this, without maybe trying to narrow down what it is that's causing all this at this particular moment, what the hell are we doing? We're just pill pushing. We're pill pushing pills that are covered by insurance that aren't working fully for everybody. Don't get me wrong. I understand some medications for mental health that are covered by insurance truly help people.
Okay.
But what about the ones that it needs more? What if it's a vitamin deficiency? Who the hell's finding that out? Katie Walker in her
Or
lab.
if it's, or if your brain's moving too fast, and if it's, this is what I like to tell people is like, with our brain, with mental health, if our brain is like a computer, right? Because the only thing it does, Dave, is it intakes data, and it intake output. That's all it does, and it reciprocates. You know, it keeps doing the same thing over and over and over, good, bad, or ugly, and then sometimes it starts malfunctioning. And so if we have this huge electrical system in our brain, and those electrical capacities, say there's a fuse box that blows or something, you know, or something starts like surging in our brain, nobody's looking at that. And they can see, you know, like when you do PET scans, if you're struggling with like PTSD, anxiety, schizophrenia, different things like that, like there's certain areas of your brain that actually have different temperatures. Well, how do you get different temperatures? You get different temperatures through increased energy. And like this is a big old electrical pattern. So the goal of the lab, Dave, is that anybody can come in. I don't care who you are. And we're going to partner with labs across the entire country. And if you're 10 years old or up, you can come get a 4-minute brain scan with an EEG that measures live electrical. You get your heart scan that's measuring your live electrical in your heart. And then we draw the blood and we make the patterns. We show you, here's what it's doing to the blood, the heart, and the brain. Here are the 3 things that are going on. Because now they're seeing, Dave, they are pretty sure the heart's the number one thing for mental health. How many times have you been to a psychiatrist who's looked at your heart first? I'm going to tell you. I'll give you a big fat one of these.
Well, it's I mean, I'm sure maybe there are some people that have maybe found a psychiatrist or something that's forward thinking, and maybe they've at least read about what you're talking about, and maybe at least discussed it or considered it. But I've never had actually anyone like a well, I can't say that because I'm all about, I'm the one and done. If our first meeting doesn't go well, um, I'm done with you, because I, I, I'm not going to freely give you money just so you can keep prescribing medications that you were taught in school that you go from A to B to C to D to E. I have to have someone that may not even start with A, may go ahead and go down to D and say, let's try this medication. Let's see what it does. Let's do this. Or what are your eating habits? If you can't, you have to be a well-rounded person for me to talk to you about mental health. Because if you just want to focus on a brain, when we know it's got to be more than the brain.
Yeah, but it's what they're taught though,
That's what I'm saying.
and that's the crappy part.
But okay, you were taught to put people to sleep to get have surgery.
Yeah, but I still had to learn. I mean, like anesthesia, you still have to.
Oh, no, I'm not done. You come on, give me a little credit here.
Continue.
You were taught to do that. That's the end goal. The end goal was to be able to knock somebody out so they didn't feel their innards getting cut open. Right?
Or sawed off.
Right. Okay. So anything that you did after that, you were forward thinking.
And it continues to be an issue today.
Okay. We can't use the excuse that's what they were taught. You have to put onus on the person because it's their choice. Do you want to just be content with getting taught that? Or do you want to make a difference in life?
It's the way the government or the administration change right now. We'll see what's happening. As we all see, there's a lot happening right now. But here's in the great United States of America, if you don't think certain ways, Dave, in certain states, they will take your license. So, there's been
people. Boo effing who? They took my certification.
No, they took
my certification because these same people that cherish their job don't give a shit about my job.
They took your certification to be a police officer?
Yeah, because I couldn't work. You might as well. They didn't physically take it. I'm still certifiable, but we know I can't. I will die. I will take my life within 6 months of going back to that job, because nobody gives a shit whether I'm an officer or not. All they care about is drawing their paycheck, Katie.
And it looks like there's a lot of them whose paychecks are getting cut.
Yeah, but their paycheck requires on seeing people, not healing people, seeing people, repeat customers.
Wait, who are you talking about? You're talking about psychiatry?
I'm talking about pharmacy, psychiatry. I'm talking about
No. Here's what I'm. Wait, hold on. You went down my rabbit hole. You went down the fox.
Oh, wait,
in the rabbit hole.
Wait, whoa. This is a squirrel moment.
Okay, now we got squirrels.
I was busted on you about getting sick eating 15 pounds of lobster. Let me tell you, I went out to eat with my boss and a couple of coworkers, and normally on my trips I'm by myself, like which I like and I dislike because I self-isolate. But a shrimp platter was like $29.99. And I'm like, holy cow, that's a lot of money. And of course my boss was like picking up the tab, and I was just like, I'm not, I can't spend that kind of money. That's not just, that was the best shrimp. I don't know. Maybe that was the first time I truly had fresh shrimp. But oh my gosh, Katie, I could have been puking in the room and been happy if I could have ate all I wanted to. If I'd ate 15 pounds of shrimp like you did that lobster, I would have been puking my guts up and
I didn't have lobster. I had tacos.
No, you didn't. You had that lobster. I know.
I had my tacos.
But anyways, okay. So that was my squirrel moment.
All
But
right. So hold on. Let's.
yeah, I'm in
Squirrel,
the wrong. I'm in the wrong category that you were talking about.
you are. You're not in the foxhole. I'm going to bring you back to the rabbit hole where I was. So I don't even know. Yeah, you're now you got me off topic. All right, let's go back to the lab.
That's pretty easy for me to do. Is get
Here's the goal with the lab, Dave.
the lab is awesome.
Anybody can come in.
I'm gonna want to ask is there any way for somebody like in Nebraska? Is there any way for them to have access to?
Yeah,
to
they can get their blood drawn. I'm working on all these things because next week's when we're starting consults. But they can get
you're starting it next week.
you get consults with me, buddy.
Well, no, I'm a pig. Remember, a guinea pig. I've already had
Buddies,
your consult.
there's a
But
pork place here in Knoxville called Buddies, and they serve pig.
listen, I'm gonna tell you that to me, I really feel like this is monumental
With the
because
lab?
I'm not heard any other.
Oh, Dave, it is. It's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be here. You know, here's how cool it is. Listen to this. You got a kid who plays football. Get them to come into the lab once a year, once every 6 months. Let's scan their brain. Let's scan their heart.
Oh,
Let's
you're
scan
trying to
their
keep
blood.
the what is that?
TBIs,
Yeah.
traumatic brain
Well,
injury,
what do they call the like
CTE,
yeah,
chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Yeah.
yeah.
So if you get a hit, even guns, Dave, there's something that came out about guns and how the percussion can actually cause traumatic brain injuries because they're seeing that it's busting the microcapillaries. So like the little tiny brain, the
So
vessels
does
in
that
there,
happen with me?
just that I'm sure it could have. I'm sure. Yeah.
Because we talked about that last week about
Yep.
the noise and every like now it's like gunfire should never. I truly believe. I know I'm wrong, but I truly believe like gunfire should never startle me. I've heard it so much for so long between hunting and staying proficient for my job with a firearm that it was almost part of my life.
Yeah.
So for me, I would have never thought gunfire would be anything other than gunfire, something you recognize right away and stuff.
I think the longer that you're out of it, it's like when I was in the hospital and we had alarms and stuff going on all the time. Like I'd hear alarm and I would just hear the alarm. Well, now I don't even think about the alarms. If I hear something, like I'll respond, but like
But does your mind automatically kick in the like that alarm's going off for a reason?
sometimes whenever I hear something go off, I mean I'm very much more now. My brain's more scheduled on time.
Yeah, but your brain also, I mean, in all honesty, it's not like you've not had your struggles, but you have really worked hard to be able to manage and control your brain.
Oh yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I give it a lot of respect. Yeah.
Which is
I have a really good outlook, I think, on how we should have a relationship with our brain.
right, and you've worked with that on me. It's just, I guess that's where the onus goes back on me that I haven't fully dedicated myself to trusting that enough to maybe have to dip into the dark side just a little bit in order to strengthen that.
It's more so
Uh,
like, I mean, like I look at the brain as like, like what's going on, buddy? Like what's going on? Like if my brain's like racing or if I'm if I can't, I pretty much work every day long enough every day until I literally can't form a thought at night because my brain's so tired.
well, yeah, because it's 7 o'clock now, and it's not like you're done. When you
No.
get off of this, you're not going downstairs
Like
and watching
I go
TV.
until I'm slow enough to where I just want to like
You
lick a
can't
wall.
you can't you physically you do what I do to go to sleep.
Oh, I work until I
Yeah,
stop. Because they're, like I'm looking at these Elon Musk things and if people like him or don't like him, whatever, things that he's saying, are actually making me feel a little bit less abnormal. And so like when he says, if you put said something about like, if you put it's going to take a month to clean your house. It's going to take a month to clean your house. If you put it's going to take 3 hours to clean your house, you're going to clean your house in 3 hours. And that's kind of like what I think. And he's like, there's so much to do in this world, and the future should be so exciting because we've got all these things. And that's really the way I look at it, Dave, is like we're only on this planet for a short period of time. And we've got to, if my brain, if I've been given the opportunity to truly create these solutions that are going to save so many lives, then I've only got a short period of time to try to get all this thought processes out into solutions so we can help other people.
So let me ask you this then, because I, I, I truly don't see it that way. Let me ask you a simple question. In your time as a, would this be a way for me to describe you, a mental health provider?
Now,
Yeah.
I'm more so putting my brain in the category of an anesthesia provider just because of that thought
No,
process.
no, 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 no. I'm asking you, if I introduced you, how would I introduce you to somebody?
I don't know. My
Because
special
I
my
mean, honestly,
special
when's the
friend.
last time you knocked somebody out to get their gizzards cut out?
That's true. I've not put someone officially to sleep since 2018.
Okay, so what do you consider? How do you what would you? And I'm not saying like I know you're CEO and everything, but no, what? How would I introduce you to someone that come up that recognized me and knew that I was a mental health advocate?
How would you introduce me?
Yeah,
This is Katie, and she works in the mental health space.
but that's not true, because then you're like every other. Well,
She's
you're
a
like
visionary.
you're
She's
no.
an
If
entrepreneur.
you say you work in the mental health, you're not giving yourself credit for being forward thinking.
Well, I do think I'm a thought leader. But,
So how do I introduce you?
this is my friend
Are
Katie.
you
She's from
not
Irwin.
a mental health provider?
She's from Irwin. I am.
A mental health a mental health.
Revolutionary. She's a disruptor. I like the term disruptor.
Okay, well, I can introduce you that way.
I'll take
Okay,
that.
I when somebody approaches me, and I'm very thankful that I do get it. I do get approached by people that have seen our videos and stuff, and I'm as honest with them as I am right now on this. And I do get thanked for being an advocate, and
Oh, good.
I always say I'm tired, because be it's hard to basically admit all your faults. And we've discussed this, and I think you said we would maybe talk about this for a minute today. Is the dark side is friggin'
The dark side's always there.
Hercules.
Right. It's
He
always there. And once you feel it, like I felt the dark before, and I
Oh, I
hate
know you have.
and I
Everybody has
hate it.
trauma. Everybody feels the dark.
All right. To where I have made it to where um I choose to look at all the good because I know it's easier to be in the dark. And it's stronger.
So what do you tell the person that doesn't see a lot of good?
It's a thought process, right? I mean, it really is. You can train your brain to look at negative, but if you can also train your brain to look at positive. So one thing, like when I used to play sports, like I never felt like I was good enough in sports. I never felt like sports came naturally to me, that I always had to like practice more and be more and work out more and all those things. So like I really think, Dave, like when people are in the dark, or if they have negative thinking, They have got to start looking at what's the one positive, because as you know, Dave, with this company, I have had so many things. And actually, one of my very highly respected international regulators, I asked him yesterday, I said, have you ever seen a company? He's been doing this for about 20 years. I said, have you ever seen a company more exciting than Revitalists? And he said, only one. And he said, we'd have to talk about that offline. So, so like there's been like, there's so much like crap that gets thrown at your face that there's a saying, low expectations, high serenity. So I expect there's going to get crap thrown at me, but I also expect that I'm not going to let it stop me. And that's the thing about it, is you just can't quit. Like that's what the world's wanting you to do, is to quit. And that's when the world wins. You got to figure out, how do you reframe it and how do you keep winning, because it's a tournament. It's a tournament of champions. Like, it's a game. I mean, life's a game to a point. Like you got a hand of cards, you got to play, and you got to learn how to play them.
Okay, so I got 2 points. One, can you see my screen too?
I
Like,
can.
do you see where my chair keeps going in and out on
And I
pictures?
see that you like doing that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, there's a squirrel moment again. But so I'm gonna go into a little bit of what I wanted to make sure it was okay for me to say today. Um, I hit that. I hit that. Close the door. Don't come out of the hotel room. Um, stage yesterday. It's like the world scared me, and I didn't want to. I was done
What do
living.
you do when you have that thought, or when you felt that?
I
What,
wanted to die.
nope.
Yeah, I
Um,
did.
well, I hear that, but when you hit that, so when I hit that, like when I'm so tired, Dave, and I'm like, what if I just didn't show up? What if I just didn't, and mine's usually meetings. What if I just
You
didn't show up?
you refuse to let that happen.
No, no, no.
Yeah, yeah, you do.
But here's my thought process. I go back and I say, why do what's causing me to feel out of control right now, to where I've got to go back and go into my safe environment?
I go back and see all the failures.
So you start having like catastrophic thinking, and you
Yeah,
go bad to bad to
I
bad. And
I
all that is,
I
that's a
just
trauma.
I cycle it till it gets out of control.
Can you stop it?
Because what have you always said? When you're out of control, that's when you feel you're
You're trying to over control because you're out of control.
right. And I I I I don't I understand. My brain's I'm stronger than what I allow myself to believe, but I didn't want to be here last night. I didn't want to be alive at all. And I didn't think about anybody else. I didn't care about anybody else. I wanted everything to stop permanently.
And what'd you do?
I knew I was going to be talking to you today.
Okay. So you had a short-term goal.
I knew if I could get to you, and it's not like I couldn't have called you, but I knew if I could just get to you today, that you don't I don't mean this in a negative way, but so many people, when they're trying to help you, they just flood your brain with more stuff that you don't have room for it, because they're going, well, what caused you to be this way today? What's causing, you know, if I knew what was causing all the shit that goes on in my mind, I would stop it. You know,
You're not wrong.
um, when I get up and I don't want to leave the bedroom, and I get asked, well, what's going on? How the hell do I know?
I'm going to the lab. That's what you say. You say, take me to the lab.
But I do I do have one great thing, and I do have a person. I have more than one, but I tend to go back to you at the darkest because you saw me at my darkest beginning. You met me at my darkest. And so anytime I say anything, and when I say I want to die, Katie, you don't change facial expressions. You don't go into panic mode. You just start slowly dissecting it without flooding my brain with more that it can't handle.
Yeah,
The,
because when we have those thoughts of wanting to exit the world, it's because it's tapped out. Like, so it's like, why would we pour gasoline on top of it, you know? But
right,
people do.
but
They
that's
don't
what
do it
happens,
intentionally. Right.
Katie. That's what happens. And let's be honest. I said this because when you gave me an opportunity to do a couple of things to involve in the lab. Gosh, I look like I've been on a drunk or something. When you gave me an opportunity, I had to answer some questions, and one of the things I said to an extremely nice lady was, I can't answer that question because I know what you have to do if I answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you.
And that's why we suck at mental health, Dave, because people are scared to death. Something's wrong, but I don't want to tell you because you might commit me or you might put me on medicine.
That's
I
exactly
might
right.
be,
You're going to throw
so
me into the hospital for a 72-hour committal for evaluation. And let me tell
yes.
you what, the hospitals are already crowded with so much other crap that I'm going to sit there for 60 hours before I even talk to somebody about whether
Not
I'm
on your
fucking
meds,
crazy or not.
not on any, not on any meds,
I'm sorry. I said the F word.
not on any, not on any meds. In that when you go to be committed, no meds they give you. You get a sitter and you get to stand in like a room by yourself. And they do
Listen,
nothing except hold you until you get transferred to another hospital. And it's like
and that literally
crazy.
could take a week.
Yeah. So how about this? And this is my comparison. This is like, I'm like, if somebody's telling you they want to hurt themselves, well, okay, like that they're having these thoughts, like don't commit them to protect themselves for 72 hours. What about the person that's having chest pain and they're choosing not to go to the hospital?
Hey,
Oh.
first of all, can we be honest? That is a normal thought process, isn't it?
Yeah, no, yeah, it is, but also, Dave,
But
like
but
if we were looking
but
at them, they're killing themselves because you're having chest pain right now. Well, I don't want to go to the hospital. Well, you know what? I'm going to call and I'm getting Dave Shell to come arrest you right now and put you in the hospital because you're having chest pain and you're not actually taking steps to save your life. So why aren't we doing it with people who have chest pain, with people who are having brain pain, like they can have an aneurysm, right? And they're like, oh no, I don't want to, and it's like, why are we not doing it to those people?
because
Dave, we suck.
because mental health, no one's trying to cure it.
Because they don't
So
understand it and they don't understand it because they're afraid of it.
but that's what I'm saying. So for me, having been in law enforcement and being on the side that picks
You've
you
had to
up.
talk to a lot of people. I mean, that's the thing about you. Like when you're with communication strategies, when you were out in the field, you never knew how much you were going to have to change the way you spoke to someone depending on their level of, were they drunk, or is it a kid, is it with somebody with a fourth grade level math, is it a PhD? Like you had to change the way you presented yourself to all these people.
Yeah, and here's the unfortunate thing. I was trained on a whole lot of things, but the mental health was lacking on how to deal with someone that someone like me that I'm not violent to you. I'm just refusing. I'm refusing. I don't want your help, Katie. I don't need your help. Leave me alone. Let me just sit in my room and you're going, well, Dave, that's really not an option because that's why you're at where you're at right now. We just need to try to break that. We got to break your cycle for a minute. Okay. And then throw on top of that, do I have an hour and a half to spend with you to understand that no, you're not trying to kill yourself, but you do need assistance right now. I don't have in law enforcement, you don't have that time because there's 15 calls backing up. You know, so you're backing up 15 calls, spending time talking to me, trying to find out why Dave's locking himself in a room. Okay, you're backing that all up. Well, what happens? Somebody takes someone else's life because you were on this call for an hour and 15 minutes. What's that do to your head?
You're right.
What's that do to your head this time? What's it do to your head 3 months from now when something else happens like that? Mm-hmm. That's why I'm where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So if I didn't get trained well enough to not only handle your crisis, but handle my crisis, even acknowledge that we can have a crisis, then when I get in these dark places and I don't want to be in here anymore, what example has been given to me to make me not want to be that way?
I hear you. Yep.
You know, and I think I'll tell you what does the lab. Because somebody is forward thinking. Somebody is not just prescribing another medication. They're trying
That's right. We're gonna try to see the patterns as to what's going on, and then we're going to get those things to stop, right? Because here's what I want, Dave. When people have OCD or PTSD or anxiety or all these other weird symptoms that our brains display, and
a lot of times that one person has all those.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of things running around.
Right.
No, but the goal of the lab is so when you get diagnosed, you know how like when you're diagnosed with blood pressure and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad person because I have high blood pressure. Like I feel so bad about myself because I had high blood pressure. People don't do that. It's high blood pressure. Okay, whatever. It's high blood pressure.
But you know why? Because hey, they make a medicine to control that.
Well, we're gonna fix those. I actually have to where people, if they have high blood pressure, we have a little, they can circle that they have high blood pressure, and we have a panel for that too, Dave.
Oh my God, I bet I got so many circles on mine.
I've got diabetes,
high cholesterol. But you know what I'm saying though, like it controlling my blood pressure, you can see instant results within a month. Helping my mind could take 2 years.
Right.
I mean, the steps could be that slow.
Yeah, but there's so many different patterns. Like, because I'm just thinking about like, you know,
who knows the patterns? Because nobody's doing it yet.
That's right.
You're open. That's what I'm saying.
We're getting T-shirts.
But that's where I talk to you all the time about. I'm just trying to stay alive long enough for you to get it.
And I'm trying to run as fast as I can.
I know, but somebody should have been doing this 30 years ago.
I know. I guess I'm just really lucky that the universe and God have given me this beautiful insight to put parts together.
I don't know how.
That's what I tell people. I'm just really good at seeing patterns.
But at the same time, would you ever wish that someone has to sacrifice their life in order to try to help people you don't even know?
You know, that's interesting. I've thought about that because
you literally, like I said, you're not done when we get off of this. You may slow down and maybe eat a snack while you're doing, but you're going to literally probably work till 10 or 11 o'clock at the earliest.
Yeah.
On a Friday night.
Yep.
Because
Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, there's not a
Yeah.
day off. There's not a day off because you don't you
You know what
literally.
happens with a day off? Somebody dies.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why we got to figure this stuff out. And that's why the consults start next week so we can start seeing all this,
Can
Dave.
they do a consult online from
Yep.
like Wisconsin?
Sure, they can.
I mean, I'm just asking because until people finally decide to step up and not try to take money and give money instead, so that you can move maybe a small clinic out Midwest to where people could travel 4 hours instead of having to fly across the country. Um, that's why I asked because does a person that doesn't have anything like this or anyone like this out in their area how, how
They
I
can
mean,
they can send their blood. It's the brain scan and the heart scan that they can do. We just have to figure those pieces out because they're portable, but they're
but it's not a no.
no,
It's
no.
it's
The
we got
goal
to
is that we get everybody,
we
yes.
we got to figure it out, but we're gonna figure it out.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep. So we've got our game plan. We got our team. We're going to do it. It's going
that's
live.
what keeps me alive.
Yeah, because you know what? I'm not boring. If anything, people think I'm crazy, which sometimes, I wonder too. Um,
No,
it's
you're crazy.
it's pretty exciting. Whatever
You're
it is.
you're 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 just crazy in a different way. You are. I, you correct me if I'm wrong. You're obsessed with helping mental health patients.
I'm obsessed with finding solutions for people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you picked a field where very few people are that way.
I picked the worst field. So I have the highest rate of success, right?
Let's say this, Katie. If 20 people are researching cancer, is one person researching mental health?
You know what, Dave? I don't know. I
It
have no
wouldn't. It
idea.
probably wouldn't be more than one, would it? There wouldn't be 20 people researching mental health too, would
We
there?
have to look at the Susan B. Komen, the whole breast cancer thing, like how much money that takes in and how many studies it does. And then you have to think about mental health. Mental health's a lot of like people on the ground teaching.
But
There's
Katie,
not.
how just a rough estimate. With breast cancer, how many people lose their life to breast cancer every day?
You're not wrong. I mean,
You, you
it's
know,
probably
there,
one
there,
breast
there,
cancer
there's,
to.
there's a ton of people. How many people kill themselves every day?
Hmm.
And you don't kill yourself unless there's something wrong, whether it be mental or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. There's
So
something going on. And it's a lack of
why is mental health not as important?
because they can't put now this is what I'm going for, Dave, with this lab.
I,
And I
I
and I
need you
do
to go.
have
I need you to tell me though
we're
why
going
you're.
to we're going to increase money going into mental health with this lab because the people can't hold on. Hold your thought. People they don't know what to research yet. We've got to show them case studies, one-offs.
Let me ask you: did you know what to research, or did you just dive into it?
I just dove into it with real world
Okay,
evidence.
so
Dive in.
why is the money not being provided for 100 people to dive into it with grants?
Sure. I mean, I
They
tell
both
myself it's
kill. They
because
both
I'm
kill at a alarming rate.
yeah,
Mental health kills it, and unfortunately, mental health doesn't always just kill the person struggling. That person unfortunately takes other people's lives first.
sure.
Okay, so why are we not throwing grants out there? Why are we not getting people out there to research that the same as we do for every other illness?
That's correct. I don't know. And like I said, the only thing I can come up with is that people just can't identify it yet. So if I can help them to start identifying these patterns, then they can go down to the research world.
We can identify a frog that all of a sudden we find in the Amazon, and we can go trace it back to the 1700s. But you're telling me that we can't identify certain things on mental illness. You know why we can't? Because nobody puts an investment into it. What do you try to do every day? You try to get investors so that you can keep researching this. What do people that find frogs and pterodactyls and bones and all that? They've already got those investors. They've got those grants. It's more important right now to find out where these bones came from, what animal back in the prehistoric times, than what it is to go, Dave, this part right here, there's something wrong here that we have to keep looking at. Oh, I'm sorry. We ran out of the $200 we had to research that.
You're not wrong. You know what it shows,
I
Dave?
just want mental health to become a priority like every other illness.
It just shows how much we have to learn still. We're not there yet.
And Katie, so my dog's found another. There must be a groundhog or something outside all of a sudden. But listen, I've had a politician, a local Greenville politician.
Oh no!
Look
Yes.
me in the face and lie to me. How many times you been lied to?
Quite a few.
Okay. When
they wait, they don't lie to me. Then they tell me certain things, and then they blame me on.
I got lied to that they would try to get help.
Yeah.
They would try to help.
You know what, Dave? They're still trying. They're still trying. I know it's been 8 years.
Do you want to come up here to Greenville right now?
I know millions of people have died.
And ask him what he's doing.
He probably wouldn't like to talk to me.
No, he wouldn't. And he wouldn't like to talk to me because he's a liar. He got me out. He said what he needed to say to make me feel okay that day.
True. Yeah, it's a good politician, right?
Yeah, because that is a politician. You're right. When are we going to get that politician, though, that says, you know what, Katie Walker, you need funding. We're going to get you funding. And he follows through with it.
Right. Yeah. You know what? And I'm hoping that some of these people coming in who actually can't be bought out, but I'm hoping they can't be bought out by money. But that's the thing.
Everybody can be bought out by money.
And and money, they'll say what money's the root of all evil, and that's it is. It's greed. And you know what that is, Dave? They're letting a material control them.
You know what it is, Katie? It's they want to keep their job. They didn't give a shit about my job.
Well, you're right. I mean, yeah, police officers.
That's what it goes back to. Because you know why? They could go out and hire a 25-year-old that's not in my shape. What are they losing? They're losing a lot when they don't keep me retained. Because I've gained that experience. I've gained that compassion. I know how to maybe treat a call a little different that you didn't learn in the academy. I've learned that through time and experience and through mistakes. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. Because there was the old saying used to be, you can pay a dime a dozen, cops are, because everybody wants to carry a gun. We lost out on that personal touch that a seasoned officer gives.
Well, you lose the respect, right? Because when you get into a line in a field, and this is what makes me excited, Dave, like with everything I'm doing now, is I'm working with some of the smartest minds in the
this is my girl that gives me love when she thinks I need it.
Oh, look at her.
But Katie, acknowledge and tell me good job that I didn't say that person's name.
You did. Very good job.
Yeah, because I say
it gave out his home address, but you didn't say his name, so good job.
I literally say his name every time I can, because I want people to understand that you can be a politician, but that doesn't mean you're a good person.
Well, you know what? Here's how you know what? Maybe it's because he doesn't know how to do it. So one good thing as to how to do it, stop. I'm not looking at your head shaking, would be that Greenville, who has the ketamine proposal for therapies for the officers to be included in their insurance program since April of 2024, he could go and give encouragement to get that plan passed.
I'm sorry, but why should it be just a complete responsibility of Greenville when we've got a governor, and I don't know all this hoopla and stuff, but he wants to tie relief for the flooding to a education package that doesn't benefit the average public school teacher. So let me ask you this: why should Greenville or any other police department, county, city, state, whatever, why should they have to fund everything when we're giving money away to everything else? Why can't he go fight and say, this state of Tennessee needs to set money aside for first responders, for mental health, counseling, training, help, instead of going, it's an inherent risk of your job. Because if you're going to tell me seeing some of the worst shit in the world was an inherent risk of my job and it could cause me to think about killing myself, and you're not going to give me any benefits or help, why are we doing it for the military? Because if you join the military in wartime or non-wartime, it's an inherent risk of your job that you may be involved in a war.
So why was the VA created?
So, and why do people say no veteran deserves to be homeless? Nobody deserves to be homeless if they don't, unless it's their choice. So why is it on Greenville to fork over $2,000 to $20,000 to help me live when we have other organizations and jobs where it's the same inherent risk, but somebody has said, it might be an inherent risk, but we owe it to these people that are willing to sacrifice their life to give them that extra help. Katie, where's my extra help? Right there. Look, because you gave me free treatments every once in a while because I could not afford it, but I was not going to live.
Mm-hmm.
And you took a chance, and you took a chance on me and said, listen, he ain't got enough sense not to go out and talk about the fact that he thinks about killing himself, or the fact that he can't get out of a bedroom, or he starts stuttering so bad that no one can understand him, not even himself. Because that's what I do, because that's the least I can do to thank you.
Thank you. And I do think that. And I think, that's a piece of it, right? Is like, life sucks for the most part.
It sucks on a normal day.
But it does. It does.
You're right.
But there's highlights. And if we miss those highlights, then we miss life. So, so like the relationship that you and I built from really kind of being down in the dump, down in the darkness, trying to, figure it out.
You literally saw me at my worst. You met me at my worst.
Right. But, but we're on the same path because we're both public servants and we both see there's still
I'm not now. You are.
No, whatever. What do you think you're doing right now?
I'm.
You're right, Katie. Go ahead, say it.
You're not right. I tell you what.
You're advocating right now for people. You're saving people's lives right now. That's a public servant. You're sacrificing your time right now for free on a Friday night to try to spread the word.
But this is going to sound bad and it's going to make me look bad, but I'm not proud of this right now. I was proud when I was saving a life, when I had that badge on.
Oh yeah, it's way cooler, man. Way cooler. When I'm doing like open hearts and brains, whatever, way cooler. We're doing the dirty work now, Dave.
But Katie, the difference is you could go back to that tomorrow. I told you what happens if I go back to that. I die.
Sure. No, you're right. You're right. I hear that.
So for me, you're having to fight. You're having to fight something that I felt like I was called to do, and I didn't get to finish it. And I can't finish it. I cannot finish it.
I get that.
You you will potentially, you could be me in 20 years if you can't finish what you're hell bent on finishing.
Yeah, you're right. And that's like when I got the opportunity the choice offering to keep doing the company or go back to the OR. And I said, if I go back to the OR and I don't keep doing this because like I feel like it's needed, like I could go into like a major depression because I would be
Let me ask you
stopping.
this: what is probably the average starting salary for? I can't say the word.
Anesthesia. Right now,
And you
right now
what?
they're making between I would say they're making between 250 to 400.
Okay, how much easier would your life be stress wise if you just did that?
Very much so.
Would you have money?
I would have money. 401k. At one time I had a
You
401k.
you wouldn't. I mean, to a certain extent, you wouldn't have to worry about anything in life, would you?
Not from a financial standpoint,
Right,
right?
right. Do you every day have to worry about how you're gonna fund your lab, how you're gonna keep your clinic open because people lie to you and say, "Hey, we're fixing to throw you $2 million," and what do? They throw it because they're going to turn around and steal that 2 million plus another million.
I think that's what business people do, Dave.
That's what
People
I'm
say, like,
saying.
I
So
know what they're
what would it
really,
not be just? So why not give up, Katie?
because the mission's bigger. It's bigger than these boys that
So
are
that's why I
throwing
do what
rocks.
I'm doing. That's why we're talking right now because it's not about me. I think my path has already been laid out. And you're trying to make sure that my path doesn't include me taking my life, but my path is laid out that I don't want anybody else to be like me.
That's right. And that's right. You know how bad it feels, and we're trying to solve the issue because we don't want anybody else to go down those dark holes because
No,
they're horrible.
and I understand you can learn to control some of it. It's still going to require your lab work, your your outside the box thinking, because every every brain's different, correct?
Right. It's different, but
So
it's
so
common. We just have to
so
figure out what the differences are.
if you have a breakthrough on me, oh, I wish you really would. But if you have a breakthrough on me, doesn't mean it's going to work on my buddy sitting beside me that's in the same boat as me.
Right.
So that means you can't just find one thing and go, we got it. I can retire.
I
I'm
have
gonna buy
solved
jet.
the universe.
Your job's never going to be over.
That's right. Until we solve the issue. And that's my goal. And I think I mean I told people this
But
back.
Katie, can you solve the issue or can you get the issue treatable?
Let's
Because to
solve
me, mental
let's
health is not treatable right now. It's not being treated. It's
right.
it's it, it it's being contained or being kept at the. I don't want to stay where I'm at.
Right.
I want to go forward. And right now, and I know you're not the only one. I'm not privy to meeting people that you've met where they have that same passion and goal, but there's not enough of you.
Right. There's got to
So,
be it's going to take all of us to work together in order to try
but
to
that's where I go back to. Let's quit saying first responders, veterans, your everyday person in life. Let's
everybody
become
matters.
one team. Let's
That's right.
become one team because nobody can mess with us. We'll
I
be
know.
unstoppable.
Right. Um my daughter told me the other day, she said, "You make everything into a song." And she's actually not wrong. When you just said
But you can't
unstoppable, I had
sing.
the unstoppable song come in my mind.
But you can't sing. I mean, I'm no offense, but you cannot carry a tune.
Well, I
So
give it a
don't
shot.
think about a career in that.
I actually told her I was going to quit and become a singer, and she just looks at me like I'm.
You think you don't have money now? You become a singer. I'll be clearing out a room for you and Gab to sleep in, and it's only one room because I don't have a big enough house. So you're sharing with your daughter probably one bed and a bathroom and
I'll be singing at the bars in Greenville.
yeah. Um, So I hope maybe in a couple weeks you can elaborate a little bit more on how the lab's going, because it'll be up and running like you said. I, I absolutely have no clue about that lab other than I'm very excited because at least somebody's trying.
I'm excited about it too, Dave. And we've
You
got
know,
a lot
but
of
I'm
good guidance
realistic. It's not going to
around it.
happen overnight. But by God, at least somebody started that.
Yeah. Because what happens? I mean, think about it. Like, if you're like, I'm misdiagnosed, like, it's like, what happens when we put data with it? Like, this is what my data shows. It's not like you're not, it's not like you're like, oh, I'm feeling tired, Katie. And I'm like, Dave, I bet you got cancer. What do? No, I like draw your blood. I look at the blood and I'm like, oh, wow,
Oh,
like, I thought it was this, but actually your blood's showing this.
okay. So
That's the goal of the lab.
yeah, because you don't want to do like what happened with me with my first experience with a psychiatrist and mental health, that he picks up my chart, reads it, and goes, "Okay, you've got PTSD. We're going to start you on Prozac. If it's not helping or you feel different in 3 weeks, come back and we'll try something else." He didn't ask a question about how come I had PTSD. He didn't find out anything, and that would be like me sending you my chart and going, Katie, figure this out in your lab. You
Right.
can't do that. I've got to come to. You've got to draw blood. You've got to do a scan. You're not taking somebody else's word.
Hmm. Right. It's real time, Dave. It's going to be amazing.
I agree. I agree. You just got to keep me here.
Well, we're working on it.
You're doing good
Episode
on
eight.
right now.
We've been doing this for 2 months, Dave.
Yeah, and I didn't promise you one day.
I know. Look at
Yeah,
you. All right. We've been on here a while.
yeah, you got work to do.
Glued. So I do have work to do. But yeah, the lab starts next week. So I'll update you on that, Dave. And
Oh,
you know,
I'm beyond. I mean, honestly, and like I said, I was blessed to maybe get a head start on that, and I'm just very excited. And I will say this because I'm not. I will. I do keep some things private, but my mom made a comment that she felt like maybe some of what we were doing was making a difference, like the downs I can get out of being in that dark place a little bit better now.
yeah. I mean, to me, Dave, it's all about like curiosity, I guess. And the more that we know, the less we can fear.
Yeah, because we only fear what we know.
Well, we fear what we don't know.
No, I don't fear what I don't know. I fear what I know because that's what's put me in fear.
But what you don't know is when it's going to come up and how it's going to feel.
I can't. I don't have room to fear that. I'm still fearing everything that's happened. I,
Oh,
I
I hear what you're saying. I hear what
Yeah, I don't fear you coming up with a diagnosis that says, like if it said this is terminal mental illness, and that's my problem. I got so mad. It's 2025. We put a friggin' person on the moon,
we're
and
going to go to Mars.
you're telling me 60% of what you're diagnosing people with is, well, it's chronic. There's really nothing we can do. Holy hell. And
You're
that's
not
the
wrong.
approach that you're not taking.
Right.
You're not saying it's
By
chronic.
golly, I'm too stubborn.
Right.
Yeah, let's figure it out,
So you're
And
telling me I
people
need to
who
go
like,
to, you want
I'm,
me to go to medical school, don't you? You want me to work in the lab? I'm on it.
yes. But it's like, let's figure it out or let's talk about it. I mean, like, why can't we talk about things? And it's because we're scared to talk about it. And one thing, Dave, I have felt that fear before, significant fear, and it was more so in my bad relationship where I had significant fear. And I got to the point I was like, I never want that fear to control me. I'd prefer to walk through the fire than to have that fear control me. So it's like when it comes up, I face it head on every time. Because that me, I have to, in order
But
to,
I mean, the difference from what you're saying and what I was saying is I always say I never want anybody to be like me because I fear everything that's happened to me. I don't fear anything that might happen to me because until it happens, I don't know if it's good or bad. I know everything that has happened to me has been bad.
that's interesting. So your brain's stuck in the past and then it gets, it's the emotional connection from all those things that have happened.
Listen, one positive gets completely destroyed by a negative because there's so many negatives.
Sure. Yep. I can see that.
You know, and I'm going to speculate on this, and I don't mean to offend anybody or anything, but I relate it to somebody that beats cancer, and then 2 years later it comes back, and they beat it again, and then the third time it comes back, they're too tired to beat it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they know what they had to do the first 2 times to beat it.
Yep. And that's what we've got to solve. And
Yeah.
I do think that mental health is solvable.
I hope it is,
I just think that we've,
but how many people do? Not many.
yeah, because they don't really understand it. I
But
mean,
they no, they want to make money off of it.
well, they want to make money, but they also have not sat there and
They
had
don't care,
some of,
Katie. They want their job.
I've had peculiar experiences in life
Have you
that
seen a
help.
doctor or an attorney or somebody volunteered to pro bono because they feel strongly about what's going on with you? Have you seen that? I have. I've seen an attorney take on a case because they
Oh,
believe
yeah.
in what. Yeah.
But
How
not with me though. No, I always
how
have to
how
pay.
how, how and how many people out there that have the knowledge to help you are willing not to are willing to do it for $75,000 a year instead of $450,000 a year
Right.
because you need that other 200 or whatever. I'm not even trying to do the math, but you need that other $300,000 that they're not taking in salary to put into the research.
Hmm.
How many you got knocking on your door?
There aren't. One day, Dave, because here's my thing. This is the way I'm, because
Wrap it up for us, Katie. Give us
this
that.
is, I'll give my thinker here. I think when you're a visionary, which is what I think I might be, you're like 10 years ahead or 20 years ahead of society. So most people can't see what you're doing initially. And then once they start seeing it, then it starts getting traction. So I think I'm just, this is my personal opinion because it's the only thing that makes me feel better about myself is I just think I'm further ahead than what people understand right now.
But you have faith in humanity.
I do have faith in
No,
humanity
I don't.
and I'm a very faithful,
I don't have faith in humanity.
faith over fear, buddy. Fear and faith cannot exist in the same space.
The day when somebody comes up to me that is in a position, a political position, and they're honest with me and they don't lie to me, is the day that I'll have faith.
I'll take that challenge.
I didn't say you. You're not
I know.
political.
I'm just saying I'm talking to politicians and I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. We're going to get this stuff done. That's what we
Oh,
do,
okay.
Dave.
Now one last note or one last question for you. Do you think I ought to get some like Grecian formula and dye my beard like goatee black so I don't look so old?
And your eyebrows.
Or I have a real like my eyebrows or that my
Are
ears.
they real? Are they high above your eyes like mine are, or are they normal? Like I think this would be
No, but they would be a jungle in 2 days if somebody didn't go. I
normal.
need to trim your eyebrows. But nobody says, "Oh, you need a haircut," because nothing grows up there. It grows here and here.
I think you should let it grow out.
No, okay.
That would be amazing.
All right. Hey,
Well, if you're struggling, hang in there. Dave and I are coming to the rescue.
and everybody, I truly believe everybody's got that one friend or one person that they can talk to, and they don't change that facial expression, and
Sure.
they don't send you deeper because they're asking the wrong questions or asking too many questions.
Hey, and the what we want to try to do in life is try to be honest with ourselves and try to be honest with others. And you may not have it right, but the honesty is just trying. That's honesty.
Yeah, and also let's get with the IT guy about these pixels. Okay.
All right, concluding episode 8, and then
Thank you, Katie.
thank you, Dave. I hope you have a beautiful weekend and
You'll know if I don't.
oh, thanks. You
I'll send
you
that
holler.
random text where I'm just like,
Who
it
was
makes no sense, and you're like, oh shit.
it? All right, I'll keep an ear out.
No,
Um,
you will.
all right. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.